Okay, so if you're like me, then trying to understand Barcelona's financial situation in the last year or so has been a bit of a headache, an ever-evolving headache. Talk of over €1 billion in debt, talk of La Liga's wage cap limiting them from registering new signings, talk of selling their rights to future TV deals, selling stakes in their own marketing and licensing company for their own TV studio, selling anything they can for these financial levers that you've probably heard so much about. And yet they're still signing the likes of Franck Kessié, Andreas Christensen, Raphinha now, and maybe even Lewandowski as well. What's going on? So, just for my own knowledge this week, I said, okay, enough is enough. I'm getting to the bottom of this. Countless articles, financial reports, and podcasts later, I at least understand it. And so why let all of this research be just for me when I can make a video for you guys as well? Because my goodness, this explainer has been one of the most requested videos in a long time, and understandably so. Hey, I'm Adrian, by the way. Thanks for coming to hang with me for this chat about Barcelona's finances. Do I agree that this is a proper or responsible way to do business? Is this a fix for everything or just kicking the can down the line for a few years? We'll get to that in this video and much more, of course, so sit back, relax, and watch as I try to make all of this information as digestible as possible. It will be tough, and hey, subscribe if you're new around here and appreciate the content. As always, with big explainers like this, I have listed all of my sources down below, so be sure to check those out if you want to go even deeper and, support the people who contributed to my understanding and by extension, this video. Shall we? So as you all know, Barcelona has an insane amount of debt, rumored to be around 1.3 billion euros. They also have an insane salary mass, aka the amount they spend each year on players, of about 560 million euros. Yeah, you can thank Bartomeu and the boys for that one. They absolutely destroyed this club with the way that they paid out wages to the players with the hopes of short-term success, and now letting others worry about the financial difficulties later. Now, as you may know already, or if you've seen some of my other videos on Barca and their debts, La Liga has their own kind of financial fair play regulation in the form of limite salarial, or salary limit. Every year, in fact, a few times per year, clubs have their accounts audited by La Liga, of which they take into consideration the money that a club has coming in through player transfers, sponsorships and partnerships, TV rights, ticket sales, all of it. And they pit that up against the money that is leaving the club through players they are purchasing, the amortization of previous transfers, debts owed to loanees that may still be paying off, and of course player wages. La Liga analyzes this and they inform each club of what their new salary limit is, and you must stay within it to register players. If a player's salary takes you above the limit, too bad he can't be registered, which is exactly what happened with Lionel Messi. I think that has been the only real tangible consequence out of all of this for Barcelona, out of all of this financial mismanagement. It's been the sale of Lionel Messi. Not the sale, the losing of Lionel Messi, I should say. Anyway, with all of this taken into account, pun intended, the most recent salary limit calculations from March of 2022 reveal that Barcelona's limit is currently at negative 144 million euros. 242 million euros fewer than the previous calculation. As La Liga's corporate director Javier Gomez has said, quote, "The reduction of 242 million means that it was estimated Barcelona would suffer smaller losses than has been the case. The negative limit doesn't mean anything with regards to this season's signings. It means there will be more of a limit in the coming seasons, unless there are capital gains or profits." So, how can they sign and register players? We'll get to that in a moment, but we got to take a quick break here to thank the people who made this video possible, Surfshark. Barcelona would have had a ton of explaining to do when it comes to their financials, and you may have some explaining to do to your mom, let alone your internet service provider, about what you've been looking at on the internet. But your search history is never in peril thanks to Surfshark VPN. Not only do they ensure that your internet activity and history is kept private, but they look to protect your privacy while on the web and ensure nobody has A, access to any of your information, and B, can't do anything nefarious with said info. We're talking banking info, personal details, etc., etc., etc. Maybe you plan on traveling to somewhere like Barcelona, perhaps, for a little digital nomad thing. But connecting to the free public Wi-Fi's will leave you exposed to anyone who wants to lift your data, all of that online shopping you've been doing, all of those random websites you've given your credit card info to, sent sensitive documents, booked places to stay. I mean, that's at risk at being lifted by anyone with the know-how to do so. So protect yourself with Surfshark VPN. It works like a mask for what you're doing online. And Surfshark VPN never keeps logs of your internet activity with their no logs policy. And on top of this, if you're trying to chill, watch some shows that are either on a streaming platform that isn't available in Barcelona, Spain, or the media library is better in another country, then Surfshark can help you out big time. Turn on Surfshark VPN so you can access content libraries on Netflix and plenty of other streaming sites from around the world, no matter where you are. And guys, Surfshark VPN is packed with tons of features such as over 3,200 servers in 95 countries, a server for every million Barcelona owes. That's not accurate, that's just a stupid joke. But you know what isn't? Surfshark VPN's military-grade encryption, their multi-hop feature, meaning you can connect to 2 VPN servers at once, which is very cash money. All of these features and more in the name of 1, keeping you and your data safe and secure on the internet, and 2, helping you access the entirety of the internet without any geolocks or blocks. Unlock those pesky low blocks. Surfshark will thread that through pass. So fellas, use the link in the description and use code RabonaTV, all one word, to get Surfshark VPN at 83% off, plus 3 extra months for free. And with a 30-day money-back guarantee, it really is no risk, man. Thank you, Surfshark VPN, and stay safe out there on the internet, okay? So, registering players. I'm sure you guys heard the stories last summer of how Barcelona weren't able to register their new signings until they secured another loan. Then this season, you would have heard about how they couldn't sign more players and they couldn't even hand Sergi Roberto a new contract. Where UEFA's financial fair play would allow teams to do what they want signings-wise and then face consequences later when they are inevitably investigated, or not face consequences in many cases, right? La Liga's salary limit is different. You don't have the salary room to register a player, too bad. You can't do so until you raise some capital and fix your financial problems, as I said earlier. According to an article I've linked to below by Sid Lowe, La Liga's player registration is done through an application, as Lowe said. If a club does not meet the criteria, they will simply not be able to sign a player. Registrations are done digitally with an app that will actually not allow you to click accept. And so a player you try to add just will not be added, and his registration will not be completed. The computer will say no. So how does this work with Barcelona and these new signings that they have made so far this offseason? The likes of Christensen, Kessié, and Raphinha. Well, Barcelona can have an agreement between themselves and the players. They have signed the players and are liable to pay them, but they cannot register them until their salary limit issues are addressed, which they are addressing right now. And so essentially what they're doing is coming to agreements with players while they are also looking to secure funds for the club to fix their salary limit. They didn't have the money to sign the players when some of these agreements were made, such as with Christensen and Kessié signings, but they are getting those funds now, and in fact have some of them already, and so they can register the new players now that they have those funds. Kessié and Christensen were free transfers and have already been announced and unveiled, as they have been able to register them thanks to that cash influx.
There is another thing that gives them some wiggle room with their salary limit, which is kind of the ace up Barcelona's sleeve in a sense. Again, here's the article from ESPN's Low that explains it well. This is the 1-to-4 rule by which clubs are allowed to invest €1 for every €4 they saved. Put crudely, offload a player for €10 million and you can invest 2.5 million. Or if that player alone accounts for 5% of their budget, they can invest 50% of what is saved. If a club gets to a point where their limite salarial actually does correlate to the existing salary mass, then it can invest at 1-to-1. In other words, every euro you demonstrate that you can save, you can invest because you're keeping that level.
But where is this money coming from / going to come from? First off, you can't forget about the Spotify deal, which isn't one of the economic levers that has been talked about so much lately, but the Spotify deal was made to contribute to combating their debt in exchange for front of shirt sponsorship and, of course, the renaming of Barca's Camp Nou to the Spotify Camp Nou. The actual numbers for this deal aren't confirmed, but it's rumored to be somewhere between 250 to 300 million in total for 4 years, somewhere in the region of 60 to 75 million euros annually. Now to the levers. Levers? You've probably heard about Barcelona having an exceptional board meeting in mid-June in which they sought out the permission from their socios, aka club members, to have a bit of a yard sale of the club's assets, basically. There were two economic levers, as they have been called, that Barcelona socios voted in favor of triggering, the first of which was their La Liga TV rights. Barcelona sold a 10% stake to 6th Street Partners, a US firm, for 207.5 million euros. Barca members actually approved the sale of up to 25% of their La Liga TV rights to one or more investors, and so you can expect Barca to sell even more of their rights soon. So there is an influx of cash right there. We'll get to the downside of that later. Second, the socios approved of the sale of up to 49.9% of Barcelona's licensing and merchandising company, often referred to as BLM. They are yet to strike a deal, as they recently turned down a 275 million euro bid, as they believe the value is closer to 300 million. These are the two main economic levers that they have spoken at length about, and how they could raise around 500 to 700 million euros on top of the already agreed upon idea to sell up to 50% of Barca Studios. In fact, they've already sold a stake in Barca Studios for 50 million euros, according to their books for the 2021-22 season. But it comes at a cost, a pretty big one at that. Selling up to 50% of both their Barca Studios income and their licensing and merchandising rights is crazy. That means they'll get just 50% of kit sales and all other licensing, video games, merchandise, etc. Selling 25% of their La Liga TV rights for 25 years? I mean, damn. So is this a responsible way of doing things? No, but Barca don't have many choices right now, and technically, they're allowed to sign players. Selling the rights to future earnings for a loan today, I guess it's like agreeing to give someone a certain percentage of your future income each year in exchange for the cash up front today. Another kind of loan, really. Except it doesn't take into account that your salary, in this case, TV rights, could be higher in the future. You may make 50K now, but in the future you could make 60K. And the person who agreed to lend you the money will get 10% of your 60K salary, not just 10% of 50K year over year, even though you got a raise to 60K. It's not a fixed amount that they pay back. It's a percentage of your income, no matter what it grows to. So you will absolutely be paying back more than you borrowed, like most loans or mortgages with their interest rates. So with the TV deals, the number that they pay back to 6th Street will change and could increase, but the amount that Barca receives from the borrower won't increase. That's a set amount and is paid to them in the present. The amount that Barca pays back to them will increase far beyond what they borrowed from 6th Street. Like any loan, they benefit the one who loans the money, whether that be through interest or what have you. It's not a get out of jail free card for Barcelona. However, for someone who is in debt, when you restructure it and give up some of your future earnings, you would expect that some downsizing would occur, right? Which Barcelona are trying to do in some ways by selling some high earners, trying to get rid of some of the deadwood, but they're speaking out of both sides of their mouth in a sense. While they're looking to lower their debt, they're also bringing in some shiny new toys, those being new players, that will also demand high wages. So it's sort of like some high wages go out, more high wages come in type of situation.
Not to mention all of the whispers of how they have asked some senior players to take wage cuts again, how they have deferred wages for big players such as Frankie de Jong, and still owe them a lot of money. I mean, it all has to come to a head eventually, and they're hoping they'll make more money in the future to pay them off.
They're essentially giving up the rights to their merchandising, licensing, studios, TV rights, whatever they can really, in order for them to be able to continue to operate in the present. Does it cure them in their debt in the long run? No, not at all, and problems will continue to persist. However, it does indeed help to balance their books strictly on a year-by-year basis. I mean, this year is the first in 3 years that Barcelona will finish their financial year with a slight profit as opposed to losses thanks to the sale of their TV rights, and this will contribute to improving their salary limit for next season. So it allows them to continue to sign and register players in La Liga. It keeps them afloat for now, but they are taking a big gamble. They're gambling with the notion that they will be successful enough in the future to increase all revenues to a point where they can eventually pay the debt down and won't suffer too much from selling 50% of their merchandising, up to 50% of their Barca Studios up to 25% of their La Liga TV rights. They're kicking the can down the road when it comes to their overall debt issue, because as Sid Lowe wrote when speaking of their TV rights in particular, the TV deal is currently worth 166 million euros to them. So if that deal does not change, which it should of course, they would be handing over 16 million a year starting this year for 25 years. A total of 400 million paid back over that period in return for 207.5 million euros now when they need it most. And so again, in the here and now, they are technically allowed to continue to sign new players thanks to the Barcelona yard sale. This will be revisited in a couple of years, I'm sure of it, and once UEFA's new financial fair play regulations come into effect for the 2025-26 season, well, we'll see how much they actually enforce those regulations. And they're a little bit looser than the previous financial fair play regulations. Oh, I hope this video made sense to you guys. It's a very difficult technical subject to fully get a grasp on, so I hope I was able to at least inform you as to why they are currently allowed to sign players and register them. If you found this helpful, then leave a like to appease the algorithm for me and subscribe if you're new. Apart from that, be well. Ciao.